You are now listening to the Queen's Table with Ja Indigo. Yeah. Serving royalty on hyperadio.com.
Hey, it's Friday. Yes, yes, yes.
TGIF.
TGIF, you said it. Weekend couldn't come fast enough. Well, yes, the grind does include Friday, but I just couldn't wait because it lightens up for me on a Friday. And this is my fun day. So I enjoy coming here with you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. For those of you that are on social media, we definitely thank you here at Hype Radio. Of course, the Queen's Table loves you, loves you, loves you. So we have an awesome show. I always say that all the time, but I really feel like all of our shows are really awesome. Try to make sure the shows are informative. So for my music lovers, for my knowledge seekers, I'm definitely here to deliver that for you. Tonight, we're actually going to go in deep, and we're going to take a moment to enlighten our royalties. My sisters and brothers, we're going to take a moment to enlighten you guys. I felt like it only made sense for us to go ahead and do it this month. I mean, every month is really, Black History or Her Story Month. But, we're just going to go ahead and take advantage of the time since we got your attention and everybody's feeling, real blackity black.
I'm black, y'all.
Right. I'm black, y'all. I'm blickety black, y'all. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and just take advantage of this moment. The topic tonight is pretty much going to be about discussions that need to be had around Black liberation, African liberation. So I have some guests here with me. I have Loyal African Minds. They're sitting here with me. How are you gentlemen doing?
All is well. Numaki Wawa.
Yes, Numaki Wawa.
Wawa.
Definitely a pleasure to be among these gentlemen. Very smart, very wise. They are elders to me, and they actually do, help educate me. So a lot of the knowledge that I do get from my brothers that are here with me. So I appreciate you guys.
Peace and blessings. Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. Let's keep this frequency rolling.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So now one thing that I wanted to, before I really get into the show, one thing that I did want to take a moment that I felt were really powerful statements or quotes that I actually had looked up, and I felt like it just made sense to just kind of lay this out before I get in here. So the first one here is, show a people as one thing and as one thing over and over and over, and that's exactly what they become. And I see that, and the reason why it stood out to me is because this has been history for us. You know what I'm saying? It's been history for us. So I wanted to kind of lead in with that because we need to change that narrative. And so that's why I wanted you guys to kind of take in that, and not only that quote, but freedom comes with understanding who you are.
Yes, exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
we talk about liberation, and that's going to be our topic tonight. But I wanted to lead in with those things so you guys can, kind of really drive it home. And that's what we're going to hone in on. So an African proverb is called, "Men, know thyself."
Hey,
Yes.
ain't you Kimmy?
Yes.
You gotta know yourself.
We got to know self.
Absolutely.
And so we're going to take this opportunity to help and enlighten us so we can get closer to knowing self, and so that we can really build up ourselves and build up our people, because we need that worldwide African unity, right?
We need it.
Yes.
We have to have it.
Yes.
They have worldwide European unity. They got worldwide Asian unity. They got worldwide Arab unity. The Hispanics
What
are
about
doing a
us?
good job.
Right.
So we have to stop feeling and acting what other people think when we try to bring our house together. Because we have children, and we have our children look like. So yes, worldwide African unity, that's what we have to be about.
Absolutely. It's in progress. It's in progress here now. I want to take the opportunity for you guys to just individually introduce these gentlemen so you know exactly who they are. I'm going to go ahead and allow you guys to take the mic and let the people know who you are, where you're from, and what it is actually that you do within the organization.
Okay. Well, we're going to kick it off with King Ajalon Diansubu, the founder, the chairman, and the president of Loyal African Minds and Joint African Markets. What Loyal African Minds is, we're bringing forth our ancient principles of Ma'at, Sankofa, and Mafa. And we are placing them in our social structure, our cultural identity, and our economic expansion. We'll be dealing with adults in our social realities, what we think culture is and what culture truly is, and we'll be talking about our inclusion economically from past, present, and future. But the special component of Loyal African Minds is our youth. If we re-educate, if we route program, we don't say route program our youth to be doctors, lawyers, teachers, dentists, architects, engineers.
Police.
Yeah.
We need our own protection services.
We
don't
do.
need our own defense.
Right.
And so we do have a program that we want to do. We'll talk about that later. We want to get 100 kids in every city that's black, right, to train to be police from 10th grade to 12th grade, and we're gonna make the city hire them, right, to patrol our neighborhoods. That's a different story. Well, the other component is joint African markets. We haven't got that together. We'll be announcing that in May. So you might have to have us back here to let the family know what joint African markets is.
Okay.
So inside Lower African Minds, I'm like the elder of the brain so far.
Taki Hicks, Digital Wisdom, Minister of Digital Wisdom, medically known as New Raka. Basically, I hustle daily to get things done for
My
Loyal
man's in
African
there.
Minds. And I believe the work is worth it. We have to leave something, not behind for our children, we have to leave something in our children.
Oh, yes.
And so I
Yes.
see this as that vehicle that we can do that in. As the sister said, Queen, our narrative has been twisted and just toe up. You
Yeah.
know, we've got a narrative that we did not even choose.
Right.
It's like someone came into our house, stole everything,
Mhm.
took everything away from us, told us we could not read any books or materials to find out how to make our situations better, and told us who we were.
Right.
And we just accepted that, and that's a disease that we gotta cure right now.
Yes, absolutely.
Brother D.D.I. Kamathi, peace and blessing, prosperity to all of the brothers and sisters who are currently watching. What I bring to the table, I am a student of anatomy and physiology. Who brought me there was a beautiful sister by the name of Queen Afua. She was instrumental and influential through her beautiful book, Heal Thyself.
Heal thyself. Yes.
Great book. I recommend all that right there for our people. Sacred Woman as well. To get that right there, the sister Queen Afua have a lot of constructive information. She was also instrumental and influential with Nipsey Hussle's mother.
Okay.
In fact, she eulogized and she spoke to the importance of health, becoming vegan, and to basically leave that religion alone and come back into African spirituality, what we initially knew before
Right.
the European came and corrupted our way of living. So, also, I plan on tackling next acupuncture. Who brought me there was a brother by the name of Tula Shakur. It's very important in the days that we're living right now to put health first. Health is wealth.
Oh, yes.
If your health is not in order, you can have all the wealth and all that you want.
Right.
But if your health is not in order, you will not be able to
Enjoy.
enjoy your health. Enjoy your wealth.
Yeah.
So, also organic gardening is what I bring to the table. Beekeeping also. Right now, today, they found a way to weaponize the food that we eat. In fact, I spoke to it earlier. If you research a brother by the name of Tyrone Hayes, you will see that he did studies on the produce and found that it was a chemical agent that's being sprayed into the produce, and it's a chemical agent called atrazine. So with that known, the way that they are weaponizing the food, that's what pushed and promoted me to get into the organic gardening also, so we can become self-sufficient all the way around and be healthy.
Did you say weaponizing the food?
Weaponizing.
Weaponizing,
Turning the
okay.
food into a weapon.
It is,
I know,
yeah, it's
absolutely.
killing us.
Absolutely. Again,
Poison.
herbicides, pesticides, and it's causing the effeminization of the male also. I spoke about the brother Tyrone Hayes. He collected some samples of frogs, and to his surprise, the male frogs turned into female frogs, and it was from that chemical agent called atrazine.
Is that
And the
right?
brother name is Tyrone Hayes, and he was a scientist out of UC Berkeley.
Wow.
Please look him up. In fact, fact check everything that we say, please, y'all.
Yeah,
I recommend,
absolutely.
anytime you get any information, it's very important to fact check and research over and over and over.
Look it up.
Yeah,
Look
we
it up.
definitely got to do
Look
that.
it up.
Unfortunately, you know, a lot of people have gotten away from the books and with social media, and you have now all of these platforms that are electronic, and everybody's just kind of absorbing it through, you know, visual instead of reading it to, you know, for it to really sink in. Because that's the best way for it to sink in is you actually
Absolutely.
doing the reading yourself. So,
Yes.
yeah, I agree. We definitely make sure you're researching everything that we'll be talking about here tonight. So I want to thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
welcome.
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very
Yes.
much.
I want to ask you what does Pan Africanism mean to you? This is a topic that, you know, we hear all the time, and if you don't know better, it's thrown around. I would say kind of loosely. I hear it all the time. I've heard it rather all the time and didn't quite understand exactly what it meant. So I want to take this opportunity for you guys to share with us, share with the people, what does Pan-Africanism mean to you? And each of you take that question.
Okay, King Aguilar, you know, this is one of my topics as a Pan-Africanism and Afrocentrism. I'm going to start off by saying when you say you pro-black, the word pro means for. When you pro-African, it means for Africa. So when you say the word pan, you're saying within.
Within.
Right? The perspective, right? So, as a Pan-African, I'm saying within the perspective of an African, this is how I see things. This is how things need to be get done.
Okay.
This is how the resources need to move within the African perspective of life. And so when you say Pan, you're saying within. You know, so when you say Pan-African, you're saying, hey, everything I'm doing is within an African perspective.
Right.
You know, I have an African global perspective. When I see humanity, I want to see it from an African's point of view.
Okay, that makes sense.
I would like to start with, I actually looked up what Pan-Africanism is, and I found out that since the 1900s in London, we've been asking for this Pan-Africanism. And then in the 1920s, I think, with Brother Garvey.
Marcus Garvey,
Brother
1920s.
Marcus Garvey.
Uh,
So
and
it's nothing new. It's nothing new. And the definition I came up with is, it says it was intended to address the issues facing Africa as a result of European colonization and of most of the continent. Pan-African Congress gained a reputation as a peacemaker for the decolonization of Africa and in the West Indies. It made a significant advance for the Pan-African cause. And one of the demands was to end colonial rule and end racial discrimination against imperialism, and it demanded human rights and equality of economic opportunity. And I think about those words, equality. When we live in a society where we have, I mean, we can bring up many instances. I'll bring up one where we have an actor who has admittedly said that he purposely and intentionally had sex with dozens of women, knowing he was HIV positive. But this particular actor, his shows are still filming. Three and a
Got a
Half
name?
Men. 3.5 Men.
Yeah.
Does he have a name?
Yeah, I'm naming the shows. So
Three
yeah.
and a Half Men.
Do we need to call the
Yes.
name out? There it is.
You got it, Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, throw him under the bus.
Okay, well there it is.
Right, don't
Charlie
save
Sheen.
him.
Right.
Come see me if it's a problem, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
We right here. We here now. So we look at the dynamics of that. This man admittedly said he did that, which should be a crime.
It is a crime. That's death.
Attempted
And
murder.
exactly,
Yeah.
Absolutely,
exactly.
yes.
But then we have a brother who is accused. I don't know all the evidence, but he was just accused of drugging these females and having sex with them, which in comparison to me, this is just my opinion, in comparison to me, that's a little less than intentionally infecting somebody. I mean, that's just like me having the coronavirus and just kind of lick my finger and rub it around your lips or something like that, to me. So,
You talking about Cosby?
yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. You don't see his shows on no more.
No. Show
3.5 Men is on,
You right
and
about
some other
that.
shows is on.
Yeah,
So we have these biases. We can go into so many instances where you see a brother treated differently for the same things that's happening. So we don't have this equality going on. And so from the 1900s, when we first tried to get this Pan-Africanism in place, it's not happening. Our kids, our babies are being killed and slaughtered by a police system that don't love them, don't care about them,
Right.
has an agenda against all of us, and then nothing happens to them. And there's so many agendas, I don't know if we even have time to get into how deep, just like Brother Kamati has been demonstrating as well. There's so much out there that's happening to us, and it's time for us to stop being quiet. We ain't turning no more left cheeks.
Right.
We ain't got no
Yeah,
more cheeks.
straight up.
We
So
don't.
it's time to say that, it's time to realize that we're the ones we've been waiting for. It's time for us to stand up and do something. We have everything on our side. We have the animals, nature, everything that has had contact with this disease of people has had a worse ending after being in contact with this disease.
Right.
And I hate to say it that way, but
Oh,
I
no.
mean, after what,
on it.
500 or more years, it's time to just say, call it what it is.
Yeah, definitely that. But you know, and I hear this all the time about calling out what it is. But we need to activate that blueprint. We got to really do it. We talk about it. We do the protesting. We're educating, and hopefully we are retaining the information. That we got platforms like this. So hopefully you guys are listening, because they watch them videos and they watch all that twerking and they watch everything else. But when it comes to the facts and it comes to things that are enlightening us, we got to have the knowledge to be able to press forward and then execute on the blueprint. You know what I'm saying? That's what we really need to do. And
Stay on code.
That's it.
and I didn't mean to interject, but it just kind of I felt that moment right there.
Good.
Yes. So
Feeling all it.
Pan-Africanism, what does it mean to you?
When you look at the current condition that we are under right now, all Europeans, and what I mean by Europeans, the superpowers, we have Italy, Belgium, France, Britain, Spain, Portugal. The same way we sit at this table right here, they all sat around a table to conspire to destroy our people. Speak up. They all
We want to hear
conspired.
you. We want to hear your wisdom.
Okay, yes indeed. When you look at all of these Europeans, they all collaborated and sat around a table the same way we are sitting around a table to plot out our death and destruction and to have complete domination amongst us as a people. And this was a system established by white supremacy, racism. And this is not something that's just here in the United States, this is global.
It is, yeah.
So with that said, the same way they all came together to conspire to destroy us, we need to come together. We jumped off of the slave ship and landed in Cuba, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Brazil. We jumped off in all of those areas, all being controlled by whether it was France, Belgium, Italy, Spain. Marcus Garvey, he came to the realization that, wait a minute, man, we need to all collaborate and come together, and whatever skills that we learn from whatever continent, peninsula, island that we are at, we need to all collaborate and come together to do right by ourselves and then go back to Mama Africa. The same way we see China, the same way we see all of these other people snatching up our resources. In fact, the coltan, the cobalt, all of that stuff that's allowing these electronics to operate, that comes straight out of the Congo. We can be out there right now taking
Our
advantage of
resources.
that. Those
It's
are
our
resources.
resources. Wakanda is facts.
That's all facts right there. you know.
Wakanda is
Yes,
facts.
it is. So we need to basically snap up out of these Europeans. Everything we learn from the European, basically just get divorce their ass, detoxify from them, and bring it back home to Mama Africa. That's what Pan-African is to me. Us all merging together, leaving these European system alone, and coming back to where we initially came from. I'm under this here.
Yes.
And that's what the brother Marcus Garvey merged together. In fact, this flag came under Marcus Garvey from a song that says every race has a flag but the coon.
Ooh.
So Marcus Garvey was like, wait a minute, man, we need our own flag. We need to come from up under that red, white, and blue, because you know when you look at the red, white, and blue flag, it has been nothing but death and destruction to our people.
Bloodshed. That's
Straight
all.
genocide, murder,
Yeah.
pedophilia. So we need to divorce that and come back to this right here. It's no pedophilia, no rape, no
Right.
genocide, none of that under this flag right here.
So I'm gonna take it one further for those of you guys that aren't aware of what those colors mean, because I think sometimes we get a little thrown off when we see remember when we had the medallions back in the day, and the medallions had red, yellow. You would get them with the yellow mixed in there, red,
Oh, yeah,
yellow,
red,
and
gold,
green.
green, red, gold, and green.
So, but this is our true flag here, and so I
Yes,
want to
it
take
is.
the opportunity for you to tell us what each color stands for.
Let me handle that one. Now, the red, black, and green, to different Pan-African groups, we say it different. The red could be for your royal blood of your ancestors. The black could be for your people that's all over the earth. And the green could come from our inheriting the earth, the whole earth.
Okay.
Because at one time it was Pangea, and all the land mass was together, right? And we was the only blood on earth, we was the only people on earth, and the earth was ours. But when Marcus Garvey implemented, red is also for the blood that we share. Black is for the people who the whole world is degenerating, all right?
Okay.
Degrading.
Okay.
And green is for the land that the people are taking the resources from.
Yes.
Okay.
Give it
Our
back,
land.
ours.
On another level, red is for the kids that we are birthing. Black is for the pride that we have. And green is for the day that we take our resources back, that we gonna be kings and queens. And we ain't gonna have to worry about nothing. Because we know we have a continent, right, that has all the resources that the planet Earth needs.
Right.
And so when we raise up the flag, we were talking about the ancient past, the near past, us present today, and the glorious future that we have to build.
It's big.
Yep, absolutely. And I just want to clarify too for you guys, just because you guys hear us talking about we being pro-black, it doesn't mean that we're anti-white or anything else. We
Not
just
at all.
really are for ourselves, and we're taking this opportunity to make sure that, you know, we have an understanding of that. You know, so I just want to put that out there for my viewers that are listening with us, so you have an understanding of the context that you're hearing tonight.
I want to say this. I want to thank all the viewers of Hype Radio and those who participate at the Queen Table for allowing us to have a discussion why it's important to have a Pan-African Liberation Conference in the discussion. And it has nothing to do with other races. It's just sometimes we have to look at our children and figure out what we want for them. So we know other groups, they talk about what they want in their community and what they want in their state and their nations. And we know the Mexicans have a flag that they can raise. We see it all around when they have their markets and stuff.
Right.
And we see the Chinese have their flags in downtown China. And we see that people are proud to be Italian and German and from Ireland and
Right.
England. And they might have flags and they might have relics of who their great-grandparents are.
Right.
But it's a problem, and we have to be explanatory, and we have to apologize and be apologetic. And I'm unapologetic black,
Right.
y'all.
Unapologetically black. For
So,
sure.
so,
For sure that.
so whether you like what we're doing or not, I don't give a care. But just put the disclaimer: we
Right.
are anti-black identity extremists. We are non-black identity extremists, but we are pro-black. That means we are for our children, and we think our children should be able to write and articulate and build the type of future that they want. And we, as parents and guardians, we are to assist them.
Right.
And so that's what our Pan-Africans movement is about.
Right.
Also, one other thing before I go too far. Pan-Africanism is hip-hop. Pan-Africanism is breakdancing.
That's all.
Pan-Africanism is creating fashion. Pan-Africanism is having comedians. You know, Pan-Africanism is using and tapping into our creativity and not worrying about other consumers, but being in our own community and say, hey, we did that.
Right.
And so that's what
Allowing
we're
us to
talking
get
about.
exploited.
Yes.
That's ours. I would like to add to what he said. We look right now at the country, say for instance, China. They have their people out there have a virus.
Yeah.
And they've actually sealed their people off, and they got their people taking care of their people. Well, we got a virus that's been going on for over 500 years in our people.
You talking about
And
AIDS?
emergency
And,
racism.
HIV?
hold on.
No.
Are we taking it further than that?
Let me
Post-traumatic
Someone
explain.
who's responsible for that.
Let me
Yes.
explain.
Okay.
Okay, get it, brother.
So I was just talking. I was just having this conversation with my queen because we was in a neighborhood where our people let to say it best, where our people don't act as civilized. You know, some people call it the hood, whatever. So we out there,
Richard.
and she's getting a little uncomfortable, reasonably so,
Yeah.
because these people are acting,
A fool.
Wretched.
yeah.
Ghetto.
So, but what we don't realize is, just like the people in China have some people now that are suffering from a disease, they understand that they people have a disease and that there are certain things that they're going to do according to that disease.
Post-traumatic
Well, our-
stress syndrome, Willie Lynch.
Exactly,
We have to
exactly.
recover from that. We have to
And
heal.
so we have these people here that have this disease and they're acting a certain way, but we're supporting the agenda, which the agenda is to make sure we don't unite, to make sure we stay disconnected. That's why we got all these sects, we got all these religions, we got all these, I'm Crip, I'm Blood, we got all these different things set up
Separated.
to keep us separated,
Yeah.
because they know when we come together, when we connect, when we able to say, my brother right there is diseased, but I love him,
Royal
and
Hammond.
he's my brother, and I'm gonna take care of him, I'm gonna put him in, what should we call it, Pan-African intensive care, and I'm gonna heal this brother, and I'm gonna heal
Pan-African
my people.
intensive care.
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna heal our people.
Right. So let me ask you this. Now with Pan-Africanism, why is it essential for us today? We're talking about it, but what makes it essential? Why do we need to really embrace this as a people?
Okay, so when you now the definition I use within African perspective, Pan-African. The ideal of Pan-Africanism is in our DNA and RNA. Before there was any outside people Africans did for themselves, they had their own social system, they had their own cultural system, they had their own economics. We didn't use the word politics. We used the word socialization, right? Because politics is politics. But, you know, we socialized and we did it from a cultural perspective. And that cultural perspective is that we always added spirit into it.
Yeah.
And Ma'at. And so Ma'at just represents that our religion and our spirituality and our way of life is truth. We don't care too much about loving everybody. Just give us the truth. And then if you give us the truth, right, that's the highest form of love. That's the highest form of spirituality. Whether God is a man or a woman, or whether it's Jesus or Muhammad, just give me the truth. And so since we're in a world full of deceptions and lies, all we want under the red, black, and green is the truth. So if you give us the truth, we're empowered. We can make the next move. But if we don't have the truth, we're crippled. It's like kryptonite. It's like the disease that the brother was talking about. And so when we say Pan-Africanism and why it's central, because we have to unearth the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, they had Cleopatra, you know, as some white lady.
White, right.
You know,
And it don't
and
even
Mark,
make sense. She can't be based on where she was, where
Some
she
would
was,
have
where the
that
sun
bubble.
is shining. It don't even make sense that she would be pale.
and so now that we have the truth, right? You got sisters out there rocking their Cleopatra and their Nefertiti's and their Empress Candace,
Right.
and so it's empowering.
Yes.
So when we say Pan-African, we want you to do your inquiry, we want you to do your research for the truth.
Yeah.
We ain't talking about hating nobody, but if the truth come out that they killed 70 million people in Rhodesia, right, under Cecil Rhodes, if they killed 60 million in the Belgian congo under, what was the guy's name?
It's the brother, not brother, excuse me.
Okay,
Wait a minute. It's,
but Alfred, the King Alfred plan, King Alfred in the Belgian congo
King
also.
Leopold.
King Leopold, in Nambia, the Germans killed 30 million. Over here, they had a thing called the Devil's Bowl, right, where they threw bodies in, black bodies. They had over 3 million black bodies. They got Central Park was a black township.
Yeah, I heard that, yeah.
Wall Street over there was a black township. In Kansas, in Oklahoma, we didn't have dozens of townships or municipals or places. We had not hundreds, we had thousands. All across the United States, we had cities. Even in California, we had 16. Up in Washington, we had 14. In Oregon, we had 8. And I'm doing my research. So why Pan-Africanism is central? Because it gives you the truth. You want the truth.
Yes.
We don't want hate. We don't want love. We want the truth. And then from the truth, we can understand which way we go maneuver, right? So Pan-African is very essential that we have Pan-African education because it's going to provide our children with the truth, and they're going to be able to make intelligent and intellectual choices.
Yeah, because we will. What how's the saying go? We shall perish for
Lack
lack
of
of
knowledge.
lack of knowledge.
Lack of
So
knowledge.
absolutely that.
I like to go back to what you said earlier. We need this Pan-Africanism because we need to, with the truth, you will know yourself.
Yes.
And if you know yourself,
Yes.
because you can't even give love until you love yourself.
Yourself.
If you don't
Right.
know yourself,
Yeah.
how can you love yourself?
Right.
So we need Pan-Africanism, like the brother said, for the truth and for us to realize, okay, because I grew up in Vallejo and went to I started out in a predominantly white school before I went to El Wiedemann. It was a school called Curry. I
Yeah.
was
When
like,
you told me you went to Curry, I was like, I ain't never heard of Curry.
Yeah.
I had never heard of it either. Where you
Y'all
You
going?
said
heard-
Curry, I was like,
y'all
what
heard
is
of
that?
Grant, right?
Yeah.
They was like two schools together, but
Oh.
then they merged, and it's a new school up there on the south side that they just built on the hill. Well, a long time ago, but I forgot what that one's called. But they merged those two schools and got rid of my school.
Oh,
It was the
okay.
school that's right there next to Franklin. So if y'all know, it's a little old looking school. If you ever go to Franklin again, you'll see
Yeah.
next to Franklin a toe down well messed
Well,
up.
I grew up on the
if it's
north
still
side of the
there.
V, so
Yeah.
I know
So-
some of the schools around.
Right, so
Yeah, I
I'm
don't know.
kind of an old soul because I lived on the north side, but my great grandmother who basically raised me
She was on the south?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
until she passed, and then I went to.
So y'all won't think we set tripping. Shout out to the south side, to the
Right.
hillside,
Shout
to
out.
the
I got family in South Wales too. I'm just saying I grew up in North
to the whole
Wales.
bay.
Right.
Okay.
all of us and the ancestors.
'Cause I'm
we
from
gotta
the north, too.
recognize.
Right. Oh, but you gonna say that though?
So back
We
to
ain't
what I was
banging,
saying
but-
before I got veered off, but and
We know we
my
having
family
fun.
they sometimes they call me the Black Neo because I relate everything to the movies a lot of times that I see.
The Matrix, the Mind Tricks.
Yeah,
Well, a
the
lot of
mind
times
tricks.
the movies is really
real.
depicting what's going on though.
Exactly.
Like it's
Right, right.
Here you go. This is what it is.
So Jesus used parables, I use movies. It's just the difference in technology. He didn't have the movies to tell people, look at this shit, right?
Right.
Look at this right here, and that's you'll get the understanding.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
my family knows that I watched The Matrix so many times because there's so much truth in it.
Yes, it is.
And one of those truths is based on something I heard, I believe it was Einstein that says, is that you can't solve a problem with the same mind that created the problem.
Right.
So
right,
that was the
right.
basis behind Connected Minds, and that kind of connected with Loyal African Minds, and then we started seeing these connections. And when we start seeing these connections, and we start seeing, wait a minute, this isn't what I've been thinking the way it was all this time. I was thinking this story of Jesus was actual fact and history, but then I'm seeing there's another story of Horus, and there's all these other
Same
stories
story.
that's a lot older than these stories, and then you start realizing, wait a minute,
It's the same story.
it's time for me to unplug from the Matrix. That's when you start getting to your red pill, blue pill moment.
Yes,
See,
yes.
I gotta watch The Matrix again with
You
now
really
my
do.
new mindset,
Oh, yes.
cause I haven't watched it since really it came out,
Oh,
and that was
movie
way
will
long time ago. So
explain.
I need to rewatch
Watch
that.
all of them, because all of them have a little truth. Even the explanation of love is in there if you catch it.
Okay.
The machine tells them what love actually is,
Mhm.
because I think Neo says something about love is this, that, and the other, and the machine tells him love is a connection, and that's what we're not realizing.
You're right.
Love is a connection, and,
Yes.
and
Yes.
depending on your connection with
Yeah.
whatever it is you're trying to connect to,
Right.
that's what builds the love.
Yeah.
But I can't love my brother if we don't have
A
a
connection.
connection.
That's right.
And that's facts. Like, yes, absolutely. Because we confuse love with an action.
With
we think love
action
is
and
an
feelings
action.
and
Yeah.
emotions.
Yeah.
It's none of that, because the machine doesn't have emotions.
Yeah.
That's why the machine can make the logic to it and say, wait a minute, love isn't these emotions and these feelings you're thinking you're having. This is why we probably have more babies than we need, because folks thinking about, oh, I'm in love. No,
Yeah.
you in lust.
Yes.
And so now you got the baby.
Yeah.
But if we realize, no, I have a connection with this person, and if I nourish and nurture that connection, it will turn into more love, a deeper connection.
a deeper connection.
And that's what we need with each other. We gotta stop looking at our differences like, oh, I'm Baptist, oh, I'm Catholic, oh, I'm East Side, oh, I'm West Side, oh, I'm Curry, oh, I'm, and start looking at, well, look, because when they looking at us, they see the same thing.
Right.
You know, they used to have the thing on Sesame Street. 3 of these things are
Just
doing
doesn't
the
belong
same
here.
thing.
Yeah, I remember that song.
So, we the same, y'all. We just need to make those connections, and we need to realize and look past the disconnections and start putting the connections in and start putting the dots together. And then the more we connect with each other, the more we connect with nature, the universe. It's all connected. Everything is connected, and that's why right now those people that I say is a disease, they're not only a disease to us, they're messing up the environment. The animals don't love them. The plants don't love them. And some of us have an illusion that we do love them because we really don't understand what love is in the first place. So.
Let me say this. All black people ain't black. Some people are incubators for others. And then some people have that deep Nubian soul, right, where they want to see their children prosper, and they're not hindering anyone else. You know, they just want to be in the village, you know.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that because the Chinese have their village, the Indians have their village, they got villages over in Europe. And they living cool. You know, they didn't ask for your black ass to go over there. They didn't ask for nobody else to go over there. And so some villages, you know, they like to be around each other. And that's okay because the world is diverse. But however, I want y'all to like, subscribe, and share, right? Hype Radio,
Yes.
the Queen's Table.
Yes.
And we want you to tune into the webpage of Lawyer African Mind, lawyerafricanmind.com. We want you to get into Connected Minds. And so the reason we're speaking about the Pan-African liberation in the area of socially, culturally, and economically, because we're going to have a Pan-African Liberation Conference. We're trying to find a venue. We want to have it this May. We might have to push it back. And we need people who are speakers. So, hey, everybody's out there listening, get your Pan-African research on. Stolen Legacy, Destruction of Black Civilization, the Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey, the UNIA, the Organization of African Unity. Right now, the African Union is calling us the 6th region. They're saying join. They're saying they got land grants and they got money. If we go into Africa, you can have a dual citizenship. You don't have to give up your American right, but don't fight against the brothers and sisters that's going over there. This year, Africa is moving around without no visa. That means you can move through the whole continent once you get there without a visa. Also, they're able to trade among each other. The Africans had to go through Europe and send their goods and products out into Europe, into America, into Canada, into Australia. Now they're being able to trade amongst each other. They're saying the strongest part about being the United States of Africa, that's what they want to do. They want to have the United States of Africa, and they want us to be the 6th region. That means that you have Africa as a nation, state sovereignty, and then us over here in the West are citizens in North America, Central America, and South America, in the Caribbean. And so now we will have an embassy. We'll have a consul. We'll have people to speak on our behalf in the United Nations, at the World Court, and to the International Money Fund. So this thing is bigger than your isolated ideology of what Pan-African is and is not. Do your research.
Let me ask you this though, because that sounds great, awesome. I want to know though, from the past experiences that we had. So we have the Harlem Renaissance, and we have
Yes.
all of these different things that.
And that was
transpired.
Pan-Africanism too.
Okay, see.
Also, look, this today marked the anniversary of our brother, dear Malcolm, El Malik El Shabazz, his passing.
Yes.
That brother was a major champion for Pan-African.
Yes.
That brother merged with Kwame Nkrumah the same way Martin
Yes.
Luther King did.
That's when they
Right.
knocked him off.
Jomo Kenyatta, you know, his whole thing was he wasn't trying to fight for no civil rights.
No.
His whole thing was human rights.
Right,
And
exactly.
he was taking it to the UN. He
So let
merged
me
with all
ask
our
you,
brothers.
this is my question. I don't mean to
Yes.
interject,
No, that's
but
good.
what I do want to ask is with all of the intentions of what we're trying to do with Africa, the United States of Africa,
that we're trying to create.
that we're trying to create, and we know what's happened before. How do we, prevent that from happening? Because Marcus Garvey's own, from my understanding, and I'm not vastly knowledgeable about everything that happened with Marcus Garvey, but it was one of his own kind that knocked him out the box, though. It was like a setup. So how do we prevent that from happening with what we're trying to do today, even with the Harlem Renaissance
That's
and all
the
these
best
things
question.
that happened?
That is the best question. Now, They didn't have an FBI until Marcus Garvey started the UNI and the African Community Leagues. Then they created that, right, just to get them. And they had W.E. Du Bois, which was an elitist person, right, who helped start the National Advancement for Colored People. And then they sent an agent in, right, as an FBI agent and a member of the NAACP League, and he knew how to do a lot of knew how to do a lot of clerical work. So sometimes when we start organizations like the NOI or the Urban League or whatever organization, there's always somebody who's been educated who know how to do the paperwork.
Right.
And they might be watching your books and they might be hook and crook. Because once again, all black people is not black. And so one thing about blackness is your skin, and then another thing is your mentality, and another thing is your spirit. That's why just because we speak English don't mean we use English words don't mean we speak English. That's why we say we feel me. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So like right now, I can feel everybody in here, right? And so one of the things that we're going to have to do as moving forward, right? We're going to have to screen each other, right? Because some things are not Pan-African, and we have to arrest that and say, hey, no, that's not Pan-African. We don't do that. It's like the little boy wearing the dress. That's not Pan-African, right? And it's just so many other things. So we're going to have to stay on cold. So read Neely Fuller. Neely Fuller, he has a lot of information about what's being on code. We have the information out there. So if you don't know, that's called ignorance. And if you choose not to know, that's called stupidity. And if somebody tells you and you don't retain, that's called dumb. So empower yourself, become intelligent, become enlightened, and become intellectual. Do your research. It's upon all of us.
Right.
Now, another part of your component, right? Another way to prevent the destruction, that if we have the information and we pour it into our children before the educational system and before Christianity or Judaism or Islam take their mind away into waiting for somebody to come back to save us, or the government join to save us, or whoever we elect in the Congress, and we find ourselves as our own saviors, that will prevent some outside force or entity or ideology coming in to tear us down.
Okay, I hear you, but that spirit always looms. Maybe I'm just being devil advocate on it.
No, you have to be. That's going to
Yeah.
keep us safe.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
We have to be
That's the
watchful.
plague of the European. We've been under bondage for so long.
Yeah.
To where
So it's not no one answer for what you just said.
Right.
It's going to take some research. We got to do some think tanks.
So this is part of this discussion that needs to be had, though. And so I want to take this a little further when we talk about the discussion that needs to be had. I want to kind of break down what liberation is. And you touched on it a little bit. You talked about social liberation. You talked about economic liberation. And I want to kind of go in further. What does that really mean? What is social liberation? What does that look like?
Okay, one of the constraints of social liberation during after the Civil War, or before in slavery, during the time of servitude, black people placed their African spirituality and hid it inside Christianity or inside Islam, right? And so when the person that was controlling the mechanics, white folks, wasn't looking, we got inside these buildings, and we got to call upon our ancestors and call upon the principles. Well, social liberation is meaning that we don't have to hide us being connected to African spirituality. Social liberation means that we don't have to walk down the street mean-mugging each other, that we can smile. And two brothers can embrace each other, and we can come into this Kuchi Chakalili and this Ngusi Soba. Another component of social liberation is that we can create our own institutions. We don't have to wait on the Oscars. We can give awards and we can be satisfied with what we do. We don't need outside approval. So social liberation is when you're confident enough in your own ability to come together and produce institutions and agendas and projects, and you're satisfied with your people showing up, and that's all you need.
Right.
Anything extra is an extra.
Okay, that makes sense. So then we talk about the cultural liberation. We talk about financial liberation. These are all components.
Yes, economics.
So let's kind of delve into what those mean, and so that people can have a better understanding of what that means.
Okay, the whole key to social liberation and economic liberation is your culture. Your culture is your statues, your shoes, your clothes, your socks, your toothpaste, anything that you use to sustain yourself daily, right? That's your culture, and you socialize around it, and you have to trade it or you have to barter it. But in Western civilization, they use paper fiat exchange, which we call dollars.
Yeah.
These dollars have Abraham Lincoln or Queen Elizabeth or King Louis, and it's just different monetary systems. So when we talk about economic liberation, we're talking about having the dollars circulate in our communities. Like, we can import and export products from Africa because the whole world is. And Africa saying they want to give us first choice to import and export. And they say they want to sell it to us for the cheap. I got dashikis for sale. And some of them come from Ghana, some of them come from Tanzania, right? We got
You
a
said
plug,
for the cheap.
right? We got a plug, right? And so that's economic liberation when you reach over into another black man's business and you support it, right? And then that money comes back and you are able to give it to a piece of it to a nonprofit. You're able to invest it in a black African a bank like United First One Bank in Los Angeles. You're
Just in
able.
case y'all didn't know, did y'all catch
Right.
that? He
Also,
said a black bank.
Also, economic liberation, economic liberation in its purest form here in the United States of America, in the Caribbean and Central and South America, is when they had investment clubs coming out of the Civil War, right? They bought chips, blue chips and white chip stocks from each other for 5 cents, 10 cents. Well, we ain't playing with that type of money no more. But we still can start a business and offer people to say, hey, I'm trying to expand my business. I need this much technology. I need this type of building. And I'm going to invite you to buy a stock. Instead of waiting for something like Facebook or Microsoft to go IPO, we can help each other go IPO. And then that be our culture. We have a culture, we socialize, and our culture is to help build each other up.
Mindset. It sounds great.
Yeah, our economy,
sounds
the
great.
economies here are actually cashing in on a lot of our culture.
Oh, yeah.
And when we look at the realization that this paper that he spoke of with these people that don't look like us faces on it, those are the things they traded us for real resources, our resources. And when we realize that we all we need and we all we got, we just have a lack of education on how to collectively bring all that together. That's what we need. And we need to stop subscribing to the idea that, oh, I can't let this brother get this and I don't get something, or I can't, basically the crabs in the barrel trying to pull each other down. When we realize we only hurting ourselves, that's when we need to realize that it's time to come together and unite and realize that we are what we need. We have everything we need. We can do with a whole lot less than they portray that you need in life. We've done it.
The great diversion.
Yes, and one of the things like what was it, the Black Wall Street. The reason Black Wall Street existed, they realized that we were all we got. Ain't no handouts,
Right.
ain't no hookups, ain't no nothing. It's us, and we got to do what we got to do to maintain us.
Right.
The so-called Jewish people, I call them so-called because we the real Jews, if you study the history. But the so-called Jewish people that are profiting on here in America, they let $1 circulates in their community 7 times before it goes out of their community.
Yeah.
So that means it hits another Jew every time
It's gonna
before.
benefit their family.
Yeah,
But
before.
let
Or
me
Chinese or Italian.
But let me ask you this really quickly. So I hear what you're saying, but the one thing that I find, and I just got to keep it just what I see.
Keep it 100.
And yes, what I see, and
Please.
I have a business myself. I make jewelry, and I do pop-ups and things of that nature. And I also talk with a lot of different black business people. But the one thing that I do notice, and when I talk to outsiders that may not know that I have a business, is black people have a hard time really supporting each other unless they're in the inclusion, unless they're, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
They like
Exactly.
look at we look
What's
at
in
each
it for
other
me?
like
That's the
we
European
trying to,
mindset.
do something.
Competition.
Yeah, and we do that not only with business, but it comes with relationships and all kind of interactions. We always looking like,
everything.
he a crook or she a crook or that person up to no good. Like we can't get past that and connect.
I want to speak
You know
on
what
that.
I'm saying? Like, good gosh, why do you
Know
think somebody's
thyself.
always out to
No.
get you? Your brother or your sister, why we can't truly just be brothers and sisters, but you would trust a white man, or you trust a, you know what I'm saying, a white female in a relationship. Oh, she better, he better, she ain't gonna do this, that, and the other. Yeah, they will.
That's the
I want
disease.
to home in on this,
That's
right?
all learned behavior.
And
Straight from the plantation.
for 300 years, and we don't blame the victim. For 300 years, we did for each other. Now, under the psyops of COINTEL-1 or pre-COINTEL Martin Luther King in the Civil Rights era movement into the Dixiecrats when they went into the Republican Party and left the black people going into the Democratic Party, the psyops was to integrate into white folks, into their culture, into their socialization, into their communities, right? Because they seen that we had a vast knowledge of all the skills and crafts.
That it was better to
So-
have us
so-
be a
so-
part
so we
than
only-
to not be a part. That was that
So
integration.
we only have been not spending with each other for 30 years. Don't take it and make it seem like this stuff is that big. It's not.
At all.
We only 30 years outside of spending with each other
Yeah.
when they integrated us. And so the word integration means when you try to become somebody else.
You did.
I did that?
It was the energy.
Okay,
It was
so-
strong energy.
That's the energy.
That's the ancestors here. That's the Marcus Garvey showing up. He said, "I come back in a whirlwind." And so, what we have to realize, family, we're at a pivot point. We integrated and we brag on Gucci and Prada and Nikes and Jordans. But right now, a lot of black people are starting businesses, and we want to turn that around.
Yes.
Create your own.
Yes.
So,
And rock it.
So-
Like you rock
Absolutely.
that Gucci
Yes.
and Nike. Yes.
so this is what we suggested. We want to do a worldwide boycott. Wall Street closes on Friday, and they pay us checks on Friday, and they expect you to cash your check and party Friday, Saturday, and go to church Sunday, right? And then go church's chicken afterwards. Chicken is a holy bird, right? Okay.
Negroes, but the reality is Negroes is not gonna boycott. You know
Well, some will. See, it only takes we 78 million. Even if 8 million people just got on board.
I would love to.
So-
I would love
so
for them to do that.
And the only
but-
thing we saying, put some gas in your car Thursday, and don't purchase anything from Friday to Monday. Monday morning, go find a black business. And so they expect you to deposit your money into the bank account Monday morning when Wall Street opens back up. It closes Friday, it opens up Monday, and it's booyah! Billions of dollars that you spent over the weekend.
Right.
Every time you get paid. If you miss paying in one weekend, they gonna ask you, what do you want? What do y'all want?
Right. But I think the thing of it is, like, I love that.
Worldwide
but the-
Bocat coming up in August. Go ahead.
I love that, but we need to get our people that's I think like the celeb status or whatever, because they rocking that Gucci, they rocking that Fendi,
Yes,
that
they are.
Prada.
We gotta stop
and they
looking
make
at
it-
them.
As I'm saying, but okay, I hear you, but we not.
They ass.
There you
Yes,
go.
it sounds
Straight
good,
up.
but we do, and they need to rock like what we rocking. You feel me? And make that a thing. It's some of them out there that are doing that, but once they make it a thing, if we can really get to them, because that's really where our youth are looking. Not just our youth, we got 40, 50, 60 years old that's looking to them and their fashion and how they rocking and considering that to be, you know, elite, bougie, or, you know, the thing to have. It's the mindset. Like, I'm loving everything that we talking. I think the more that we put things like this on platforms and letting people, you know, hear it and rock it right, you know what I'm saying? Because I know I do mine
Right.
up real nice. But the more that we make it something that, you know, pops in and really reaches the mass,
Right.
I think the better opportunity we'll have.
So this is what we gotta say. Cut the TV off. Get on social media. You got black people creating content.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, share. Take your
Yes.
motherfucking black
Yes.
ass out, excuse my language, and create some content.
Yes.
Okay?
Like and share.
Create some
Comment.
clothes, right? Go into your garage or your basement and become an inventor and get it patent.
Yes.
Go into your kitchen, right? And invest and create your own McDonald's. We will buy it. It's only a matter of reputation. McDonald's bombard us with commercials every day, so of course we want to go see it. Okay,
Ain't got the best
now
burgers.
They
one-
sure don't.
so one thing we learned about McDonald's, right? They had a clown, right, with some little things, with excited children. So if you want to do some marketing,
Yeah.
right, you have to capture the people's mind.
Yeah.
These people cannot win. We're not psychologically dumb, right? They haven't got the best of it. We got the best yet to come. I'm one of the few people that still believe in it. I take that frown and turn it into a smile. Y'all can feel this energy, right? We can do this, people, right? And don't wait on Laura African Mind or Queen's Table. Do it inside you.
Right. So
Start your own investment clubs in your own communities right now.
do you think that we're empowering our next generation? Do you think that
Right now we are. At this hour we are.
At this hour
Did
we
we do
are.
it yesterday? Hell no.
Probably not.
Right? We talked about strip clubs and we talked about some other things and your wheels and your gold chain. Right? But we seeing they knocking down all those celebrity stars. They coming after all of them.
They sure
And
are.
then they bring their kids out as homosexual. And so they saying Black Hollywood, you through. If you ain't putting on a dress, even if you put on the dress. So we have to create our own content. Our biggest problem, right, which is not Pan-African, is allowing somebody else to write your narrative.
narrative? Yeah.
Right.
I think also to add to that is that when you talk about black business, we're trying to model black business like America does business, and it doesn't work. We
Right.
live in a place that's not even a country. You know, countries have kings and queens. Where we come from
Right.
has kings and queens.
Right.
Corporations have presidents.
And CEOs.
And
Yeah,
CEOs.
yeah,
We
got a
live
point.
in a corporation, and we're trying to function in that corporate system
Right.
that's not based on we come from a king and queen type system.
Right.
And if you take a deeper look, I'm gonna unplug y'all from the matrix a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at these wars that's going on, we're always at war, or we'll make some kind of war with every country that
Mm-hmm.
isn't connected with the Rothschild central banking system.
I've heard of that.
Exactly.
Yes, uh-huh.
What Afghanistan wasn't there. North Korea, why we got a problem with them?
Right.
You know, Muhammad Ali
Who is
said
we?
I'm-
Who is we?
Not us, not us. My bad. Let me step back.
No, because we house on fire. We got to stop including ourselves
Yeah.
inside
We
global
seek
rights to
massive-
deviousness
Yeah.
and see ourselves separate.
Right.
That's when we start our black economy. That's when you become a Pan-African, when you
Right.
stop saying we. I'm not saying that on the brother, but I'm here to check everybody. Check me if
He
I say
said
we.
it was we.
Exactly.
No, no,
Exactly.
no.
Oh yeah,
We gotta
because
break the
Malcolm
program.
X,
The program
Malcolm
is
X
strong.
made that point. He
Right.
said, you know,
We.
when the
Who's
slave
we?
master used to get sick and the slave
Right.
and the house
Right.
We
the
sick.
house nigga,
Yeah.
we sick master. Yeah,
No,
so you
we
got
ain't
yeah.
sick.
There's a
You're
whole
right.
lot of things we got to get out of,
Yeah.
and that's
Absolutely.
what I call we have to unplug from that matrix. From
Dr.
that
Francis
mind
Wells
trick.
Wilson, go read her.
We got to unplug from
absolutely.
that mind trick, and
Right.
you can't even understand this stuff with the mind that they gave you. They've raised you from when you were small. You know, from when you up
I
to
love this
8
sister.
years
She got
old.
questions
Up
for
to
us.
8 years old, you stop asking the why.
Uh-huh.
You know, kids they're at that learning stage is from birth to 8 years old. That's when they just continue asking why, till most of us black people just get to the, cause I said so, and if you ask me why again, I'm gonna punch you in the
Yeah.
mouth or put some type of violence, which is something else we learned from them. You know, I heard it said that our people don't even believe in beating our children because we understood that. What I heard was beating your kid actually takes that spirit, makes that spirit run away from them, which we learned that from them. They beat on us. and
Let's simplify
controlled
it.
us.
Let's simplify it.
I think some of these kids do need they beating.
Let's simplify
They
it.
need
I
something
agree
because
on that.
words ain't
Yeah.
Let's
words
simplify-
ain't cutting it.
Let-
They need.
Let's simplify it. Okay, we don't beat our kids and we don't abuse our kids, but we do
We
correct.
ain't
We do
abuse. We
correct.
ain't abuse
Wait,
them,
wait.
but they need
So we're gonna use the right word. We do correct our
a
kids.
beat down sometimes.
Trim
Yeah.
them kids.
We do correct our
They're going
kids,
wild.
right? So whatever it takes to correct them, right? They gonna get corrected because we don't do that.
I mean,
No,
because
but
if
here's
we
the-
don't, the police show is. So
Right,
you
right,
got to
right.
put some
And-
kind
and-
You do.
of fire to that ass.
And,
Yeah,
and
sure
y'all
do,
know
man.
what's causing that though? We're allowing them to watch this box, and if you notice, that box makes them more rebellious. You know, there was a show that used to come out called Scared Straight.
Yeah.
You know that show don't work no more.
Yeah.
Because
I
the
said my
kids watch it and they're like,
yep.
oh, well, I can
They know
stand
we
up to
don't do-
daddy. I can tell daddy, blah, 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 blah. And so it's not that we need to beat them like that.
No.
It's that we need to stop feeding them all this rebellious, unhealthy stuff. So where they thinking that, oh, I can do this, I can do that, and they realize with their own natural mind, which they used to say in the day, you done lost your natural mind.
Yeah.
Right.
Get your natural mind back.
And so I'm gonna tell you the truth. I didn't get whipped a lot, but there's some ass whoopers that I ain't gonna never forget. And I'm thankful
Most definitely.
from grandmama and the
Right.
aunties and the family
Most
for giving it to
definitely.
me. Cause I
Well,
probably
that's
wouldn't
because
be
you
here.
learned. You got them certain ass whoopers that you
That
knew
made
to
you-
straighten up and fly right.
And it kicked in your mind, whatever you're doing, it kicks in your stop.
Uh-oh, wait a
And you arrest your own, you stop your own self. We don't do that here.
But you didn't end up in the hospital.
No,
So
no.
there's a difference.
man.
Yeah.
No,
There's a difference.
man, after the ass whooping and you go off and feel, lick your wound, and next thing you know, they finna give you some ice cream and they gonna give you some hugs and they gonna tell you why they did it.
Yes.
So you just don't correct the child without letting them understand why and
Absolutely.
the importance.
Oh,
All
absolutely.
right. And this is something else I want to say to us, right? We took this snitching shit too far,
Ugh,
right?
Yeah.
In the Black Panthers, in the Black Liberation Army, in the Nation of Islam, right? You report whatever's going down to us. When you tell the other people that's snitching. So if something going on with your brothers and sisters, if somebody's touching you, you report that.
That's right.
Because we got a lot of shit swept up under the rug, and that's Pan-Africanism, right?
That's right.
Okay,
Everything.
and we got old men touching young women, right? We got old women touching young boys.
Yes, it's
Oh,
two-way
we
street.
got
Even domestic violence, because it's looked at like you snitching. This nigga over here beating your ass or whatever the case may be, and you up under that law, this snitch law, and you taking this abuse. You need to tell somebody. You need to tell your daddy, your uncle, your
Yeah,
somebody.
you
You
need
ain't
to
gonna
check
supposed
though,
to sit
definitely.
there and just take that. But if that law got people shook, like I ain't no snitch. I ain't gonna.
what the original gangsters code was the women and children didn't get fucked with. You know,
Right,
and,
exactly.
and you know, the Panthers will come see you, the FY come see you, the Crips, the Bloods come see you. Did somebody come see you if you just messing over these sisters because they couldn't defend themselves if you messing over these children? And so we have to, when we talk about Pan-Africanism, socially, culturally, and economically, we got to have a moral character. We can't just all be thugs and hoodlums and criminals.
Right.
Somebody has to be the decent brother and the decent sister, the noble man and the noble woman, the king and the queen, the prince and the princess, the God. We have to have a moral standard, right? If we're going to hyperspace into the next level. Because these people are moving against us with light year speed. And we still trying to thug, gangster, pimp, and jack, and extort, and mean mug. That shit is
don't
so,
work.
that's a black exploitation movie that we repeating. And until you
What I
rap
said, that's what I said in the beginning. You keep showing a person what they are or who they
Absolutely.
are, they just gonna keep emulating that same old thing.
Our beautiful sister
And
Frances
I want to say
Russell
this.
spoke to that
I love
also.
all you rappers, but y'all remember when hip hop came out, it was party music. We was in a Great Depression. We was under Reaganomics, and we had to have an outlet to feel good. So we got on the mic and we rocked the mic. We boogaloo, we robot, okay? And then NWA came in with a street report. Then the next group, they started paying people to talk about how sinister and how connected to the devil they were and the women part. But we had education, right, with X-Clan and Chuck D.
Yeah.
So some of you brothers,
Yeah.
some of you,
Entertainment.
some of you brothers, right? And some of you very famous rappers know a lot about Pan-African. Y'all know a lot about how the government work and education. Some of y'all went up to college. So why is y'all teaching and why is y'all promoting garbage just for a
Yes,
bag?
cut that out,
Yeah.
man. For real. That's
That's,
not
That's
that's
right.
creating black powerlessness.
That's right. That's exactly what it's doing.
Powerlessness.
Yes, it is.
Like that's
Exactly.
not no
That's creating a soundtrack for the penitentiary and death.
that part.
And that's why it pays.
Yeah, yeah.
It's part of the agenda.
It is.
Because, you know, Toshiba, for instance, they have a 100-year plan. So they had a plan of they're not going to, the people that did the plan, they know they're not going to live 100 years, but they had a plan for 100 years. And I say that to say, if Toshiba can have a 100-year plan, do you think this system don't have a longer plan?
Absolutely.
And the plan is for us. So when they saw that these kids, because we evolve, we so creative that hip hop came from kids that couldn't afford the music lessons, from kids that couldn't afford the music instruments, the dance lessons,
Right.
the art lessons.
The dope
Raw
clothes. I
talent.
mean,
Raw
it was
talent.
right,
Raw-
exactly.
and that
It
was
wasn't
what it was
buying
about.
Gucci. They was cutting up pants and
Exactly.
just being creative
Making
with
their
their
own
style.
stuff.
Exactly.
Making their own stuff.
Yeah.
And
They
what
got
it is-
laughed at for cutting up their pants. Now you buying pants
Right.
for $300 that's cut up.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
And,
let me-
and America saw it, and then they
Yeah.
monetized it, they
As
monopolized
usual.
it,
Culture vultures.
and took it to use and put the wrong message
Tied
to
into
our
it,
people.
yep.
So
So, now this is my question. How did it become politically correct to exclude blacks and blackness? Like, y'all feel me?
I got you on that one. I got you on that one. And when we look in our minds, we look at Jesse Jackson, right? He was a pro-black when he had Operation Push. Then he added another component to Operation Push, the Rainbow Coalition. The Rainbow Coalition. The Rainbow Coalition. They got a flag now, okay?
Right there.
And so this flag is not correct. The rainbow flag becomes politically correct because under Jesse Jackson, he was in the league with what's the brother name? Benjamin Nahu, not Benjamin Nahu, Benjamin Jealous, Farrakhan,
Okay.
Mayor Tom Bradley, Mayor Coleman. He had a lot of black mayors in government that he had to compete with. When he added the Rainbow Coalition into Operation Push got left, and the Rainbow Coalition, so the white senators and the congressmen and the assemblymen and people started funding him.
Yeah,
Right?
right.
And so he started spearheading feminist rights, women rights, and he started saying that the homosexual agenda, that they deserve to be treated decent within. I mean, so a lot of the energy started to shift, and what they did, they started giving people, money and grants and seed money. If you help this one group that felt like they was being outcast, and you can push their agenda to the forefront, but you cannot, bring the black agenda up there while you dealing with the LBGT because they wanted everybody to be included in the LBGT.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And that put us back. We might have to do another show because
You
that
did,
needs
you
to have
did,
some time
yes.
spent on
Yes.
because it's a cold psychological hypnotism that's been going down with
Yeah.
that you cannot speak on blackness or you cannot say Pan-African.
Right.
And for you at home, do your research. The only thing I'm asking you is do your research. I know some of y'all have opinions, but please make an investigation, make an inquiry, pick up a book, and
Please.
find out what your ancestors, right, who were Pan-African or who was pro-black, or Negritude or Ethiopianism, right, or what they call black centered. Find out how they progressed as a community. They had everything they needed
Right.
when they looked at that life that way.
So, do you guys think that blacks should ally with liberals or conservatives? What are your thoughts there?
We don't have a place in any of that. We tried this for so many years, and what has been the outcome? What is the agenda? We speak in terms of reparations. You look at Bernie Sanders, you look at all of these politics. They do not represent, look,
Say that again.
politics.
Politics.
Politics is what it is,
Yeah.
again.
You said a pile of tricks?
A politics, right?
Pile of them. It's a
Right.
big pile.
That's that from Mama Earth to the moon. Look, every other person have received reparations surrounding crimes against humanity, but
Right.
us. What happened with the so-called Jews during the Holocaust? Our Holocaust here in America was 100 times worse.
Right.
Exactly.
They still got to keep their names, all of the wealth that was accumulated. They get to keep all of that right there. We receive absolutely nothing.
Why though? That's my question. I've always had this question to
The
understand
complexion
why.
for the connection.
Why we can't get our reparations? Why we can't get our 40 acres and a mule? What's up with that?
Because we always have been looked at as straight property. If you
We
look
are
at
the
Dred,
mule.
if you look at Dred Scott case, that was never underturned. We still 3/5 of a man in the eyes of the Europeans. Period.
Let me say
And
this.
the slavery and all that right there. The 13th Amendment. Slavery was abolished unless you go to the penitentiary or jail, and then slavery was never abolished. Period.
No, it's still alive and thriving.
Let me say this. Because black people are not looking at the situation. The British had slaves. In the American Revolution, George Washington had slaves. The French had slaves when they came over here before the Louisiana Purchase. The Spanish had slaves. all North, South, and Central America was in the Caribbean, was chattel slavery. They colonialized Africa. So European wealth is built up off of the African resource, the black people resource. If they gave you reparations for what they did in Africa, what they did in North and South and Central America, what they did to us, it makes their dollar worth nothing. Okay? They become poor overnight. And they understand if they gave you any upliftment, the creativity that you have inside yourself, you would design a new shoe. You would start your own record distribution company. You got record labels, but the distribution part, you will own your own studios to make movies, right?
Right.
And you
Ownership.
and so
It was shift
Yo,
and balance.
right.
Huh?
It really was.
so
That's
you
why-
would
that's
produce
why
your
they
own
do
image
that.
if you had the right type of economics. And so while we holding our breath for reparations, start your own investment clubs. Okay? If you need to do a studio, once y'all go buy a camera together, buy some microphones, right? And let's create our own content. Flood the internet and the web with your own content till you become your own Blackwood. Is that
More-
Rosewood.
Moreover,
What'd he say?
Blackwood. I like that.
look, we have the finances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do we shop at? Safeway.
Yep.
Walmart.
We even go to La Tapatia or Mi Pueblo
Uh-huh.
or a Seafood City or
Yeah.
a Island Pacific. Where our grocery stores at?
Yeah.
Even in terms of when it comes to beauty.
Takara? I see Takara. You see
Look.
Takara?
Hey, sis.
Hey, Queen Mother
Hey,
got
sis.
it.
One love.
Hey,
You
Maki
Maki
Wawa.
You Maki Wawa.
Look, even in terms of beauty.
See, y'all want me to turn up. I'm ready to turn up, y'all.
we need to change this dynamic too. The black woman, I love y'all very much. Y'all very beautiful.
And we love you too.
Listen,
Queens.
that black woman will go to the Asian for hair, nails, Chinese food, refried rice, all
What you
types of
looking
stuff.
at? I got. Don't you do it.
I asked her about her locks.
I still
asked her
got
about
my
her locks.
antennas.
She said
Don't
they
play.
still don't. Her antennas in there though.
I still.
This is not a shot at the black woman at all. All I'm speaking to is stop allowing yourself to be exploited.
Yeah.
When you go to these damn nail shops, they'll look dead at your damn bunions in your corner. It's like, and look at their friend, they talking dead about your ass. But then you will go spend your hard-earned money right back with the same damn people that talk about
Right.
you.
You
If a
right.
black woman talked about you like that, you would never go to her nail shop ever
You
damn
right.
again.
And clown and talk bad about it and everything. And you right.
And tell other folks to stop
Moreover,
coming.
they passing
Yep.
out HIV and a whole lot of other stuff, flesh-eating diseases in these nail shops,
Yeah.
unsterilized
Exactly.
Yeah.
instruments.
Yeah.
So
So,
it's biological and
get your-
chemical warfare
Get your
against
own.
you.
Black woman, get your own, whether it be
Yeah.
a nail shop or whether it be in control of your hair. Don't spend your money with people that don't give a damn about you. And all
But
the
here's
while,
the thing.
you empowering them to send Ling Quang to
Right.
Harvard to
You're
Yale.
right. And you know, I'm in total agreement with you. But I'm on both sides of the fence as a business owner and also as just a black woman, right? So what I hear, as much as I definitely think, you know, we should be buying black, but what happens, and I tried it too, is like when you go to the black beauty supply store, unfortunately, they either A, don't have a lot of products unless you go into the town.
Oh, overcharge.
Yeah, or they're overcharging for it. And it is tough. If you're on a budget, if you're a young person on a budget and you ain't got it, it's hard to go over to, you know what I'm saying, to Mama Earth or whatever you want to call it and go buy her, you know, her products and stuff because she's overcharged. And I get why she's overcharging. Again, as the black business owner, you don't have a lot of customers maybe coming in, you got your overhead, you got all of these things. So I get why the prices are higher. It's a matter of, okay, if you support us, then we can grow, we can have more. You know, if more black people start supporting black beauty supply stores, then maybe it would allow the opportunity for more stores to open. It's just getting over that hump. And I hear it all the time. Yeah, I would go buy, you know, my hair, my whatever from Mama Earth, but Mama Earth, I can get this for $15 and she charging $35, $40.
Whoa.
So it happens because it depends on where you are. If you're in a town, you can find it. But if you're in areas, Sacramento or wherever else, you're not gonna find those. And if you do, they're overcharging. Whether it comes to the beauty, you know, the beauty products, or sometimes even come to, our specialized clothes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yes, we do have to make our money. Again, as a business owner, I do understand we do got to make our money. You know what I'm saying? But we can't always charge so much, because that's kind of a deterrent for the ones that may really be able to rock it. Your young folks. You know what I'm saying? Those are the ones that's out there able to really rock and broadcast, not all the people that got it like that, that's established and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, go ahead.
So let's do this experiment.
Yeah.
Okay. Jai Hicks, right? Queen Jai, the Indigo Goddess. She has line of products. You are out there looking right now. Share, like, comment. Go to her page. Buy some of her product. Tell your family. Tell your friends. Taki and his wife, they have products for sale. Right? This is black business. This is the beginning of black economics. If you want to start right now, right, and you want to help these people with fashion, hey, John, how can I invest in what you're doing? First, you got to purchase, right, so she can have the confidence to set it up where you can invest. Taki Hicks, right, this brother right here, him and his queen, they have products. They hustle hard, right? I hustle daily. This brother over here, D-Dan Kamani, he has honey, and he has other products. Me, King Agilon, I'm going to put up tea on the market. I got daishikis, right? And also,
thank you for my dashiki too. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I thought this was so special because he did come in and I got a dashiki he gave me and my station manager. We got dashikis. And orange, and I'm rocking orange today, and he just came right on time. Look at the universe. So I want to definitely.
And the ancestors about the color. And when I walked in, I seen she had a color. Pop your collar.
That's called connect. That's called connecting.
Ancestors.
So, but you know what? I want to say another thing too. In addition to that, again, I'm being on both sides of the fence. The other part of it is not just the pricing, but black business owners. And I say this to myself too. We have to do better about our customer service with the people too, because it's a detractor. If we aren't treating people like, the other folks, then yeah, that's going to be a detractor. If I reach out to you and I need to return something, or this ain't what it's supposed to be, or whatever the case may be, can I get a discount if I refer a friend? All these little marketing things and customer service, we have to make sure that is phenomenal, because really that's like the biggest deal.
Absolutely.
It's the big customer service is the biggest deal. You
do
will
not
still
take
go
your
back to
trauma to your business.
right.
Trauma-free business.
You can't do that. So we have to really up the ante. So if you're going to charge a lot, then you need to make sure that your customer service is impeccable to, balance it out. Because, then people may come because, maybe she is charging more. But I know when I go there, she's treating me like family. She's, she's going above and beyond.
Right.
I don't have no return issues. I don't have to wait forever and a day to get my product. I send some to her. It comes back and I ain't got to wait forever. The packaging is awesome. We have to do all of these extra things like a BB, like a Gucci. You know what I'm saying? We got to deliver that kind of service too.
And the key to that, if you purchase right from Pamper You and Company, Queen Mother Amina, go look her up, or Dynasty Design, these people will employ you. They will employ your children. We're setting up right to be the employers of our own community. You don't always have to go work for the white man. You can work for the black woman and the black man. But let's don't say that. Let's just say work for the black family. Let's work for the black community. Worldwide African Unity is now in progress. This is Lawyer Akamai, King Agilon the Asubu, warning you, if you don't have a plan, Donald Trump don't have a plan for you.
Oh, yeah.
I want to chime in on that also, and I want to start with something I learned in the meditation world, which something that a lot of us may not get into as people because
we need to, though.
Yeah, because we don't realize
Yoga, meditation,
we don't
exercise.
realize what that does for unplugging from the matrix, so to speak. And just like Erica Badu, I quote her
Love
one
y'all.
time saying she was praying to God one time, and then she realized she was talking to herself.
Herself.
Got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So they have there's a should I say a mindset that they have in the meditation world, and it's called accepting what is. Black folks, we got to accept that it is hard being black. It's hard in this whole wide world being black.
Right.
And when we accept that and we understand that, then we can connect with each other in a different way. As a business owner, I can connect. And is it against the law if I say, you know what, this is my brother, so I'm gonna take a hit on the price?
Right. Yeah.
it's my brother, so I'ma spend more to get him there, because we trying to do the same thing, but we'll never get there with
Yeah.
that crab in the barrel thing.
Yeah, I agree.
And in order to kill that, we gotta accept that it is hard for us. It's gonna be harder for us. I'm gonna have to raise the price a little because I'm black. I'm
Right.
gonna have to give a little more because I'm black. I'm gonna have to do this, and if I take the mentality that I'm gonna be a little more special to my people, is that a crime? Why do we got the mentality that, oh, it's wrong if you're doing black folks a different way and you're doing other people a different way? They've been doing us a certain way for over how many years?
Right.
So it's time for us to start doing for us and realize and accept what it is. It's hard for us out here, and we got to do certain things for each other so we can all make it, so we can all get out the damn barrel.
Period.
Okay, let's do this. If you're a black business and you want black people business, right? And you're not just out there being selfish or greedy and just trying to pay bills, have it posted up somewhere in your store, right? What nonprofit or what some of your proceeds or what you fund,
Yeah.
right? So when we come in, we can feel good
Yeah.
about turning our money over you because we know it's going to help a single mom. It's
Yeah.
going to help a homeless person.
Right.
It's going to help an educational project. It's going to help somebody learn how to sew. Let us know what your business is here for. That is not just selfish for your family, but
Right.
that you have an ideal, that you're spreading culture,
Right.
that you're uplifting, the community, and so we can feel comfortable. Because just like you said, it's hard being black. It's also fun being black.
Yeah.
We had those months
Best
where
thing
we
in the
wouldn't want to
world.
be nothing
Yeah.
else.
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be
Best
nothing
thing in the
else.
world. They,
No, King
everybody
Angela
want our
turned
swag,
positive.
but they don't
Right.
want our struggle.
Mm-hmm.
They
No, I
want
wouldn't
our
be nothing
swag,
else.
but they don't want our struggle.
So what's the let me shift gears here. What do you guys see as the main thing, that the common main thing among black people that keeps us from unifying? We're talking about business and supporting, and we're talking about coming together with this liberation conference discussion, but we also know that that's something that we're up against too, the unification. What do you guys see that keeps us from having that?
Okay, if we take a graph, right? If we take a graph, right? My thing is sociology. And sociology takes us all around the world. We find out that we spoke too many motherfucking languages, and we had too many different rituals, right? We had too many different customs that was different. And so everybody want their language, they want their ritual, and they want their custom to be the number one. Well, same thing over here in America. Everybody has their own slang, everybody has their own perception. So you can be speaking the English language with another black person, but you might, since the English is so diverse,
Yeah.
what you're referencing, the other person might not get. And what you're or what they reference, you might not get.
Right.
And then that goes into a bait, and it goes into a shutdown, right? So our biggest dilemma is communication, right? Perceptions and communication. The way they communicate down south and what they perceive, some of the stuff we don't even understand in the West Coast.
Yeah.
Up north, up in Chicago and Detroit, they have a different perception. New York is a whole ball game by itself, along with New Jersey and Philadelphia. So we have as black people, if we understand our biggest problem and the biggest way they keep us divided, right, is our perception in the way we communicate with one another. If we can figure out a moral way to communicate with each other, to get our message across, where it's not a debate, where it's not a fight, where it's not an argument, it is balanced, it makes sense, and we can move forward. So everybody out there listening, share, like, subscribe, and tell everybody, hey, let's do better at communicating with one another, right? So we here talking about problems, but King Angela gonna give you some solutions right now, not
Right.
tomorrow. Yesterday, what we did yesterday, we don't got to do today. We
Right.
can communicate.
Right.
Brothers, when you walk past each other, give each other a smile.
Straight up.
That will lift that spirit of both of us, right? And now we have a spirit of
Yes.
creativity. Sisters,
Connection.
Yes.
sisters, y'all can stop calling each other bitches and start calling each other queens and empress and goddess, right? And a goddess and a queen, they look out not for just their children, they look out for the nation,
Right.
right?
They people.
Like the sister Takara with Dynastic Designs, right? She's a part of the Lord of Command, and she's always thinking about the whole group.
Right.
You know, we got the Queen Mother Goddess with Pampering Your Company. We even got Jai Hicks. She comes on our talks, and it's like, what we gonna do, y'all?
Right.
And she got that exciting energy. So be positive, communicate positive, use your creativity, start your investment club, go in your basements, go in your garages, go into your attics, and go pull a next brother off the street and say, hey, man, We didn't talk about how to beat somebody up or shoot somebody or go rob something. Let's come use our creativity to figure out what are we gonna do to build ourselves up.
Absolutely.
And it takes communication.
Communication. That's
And
key.
communication as well as education.
Yes.
Because again, the reason why we are in this current condition right now was from programming and conditioning. From the plantation to right
Mark
now.
P.
We've been programmed and conditioned to be honorary Europeans. L'Oreal, Maybelline, Pantene, CoverGirl. They even have right now something I call CoverBoy.
Wow.
Yes, they
You
do.
better stop.
Look it up.
Please stop.
You better
That's too
stop.
much.
Right.
That's doing too
All
much.
of these images bombarded our imagery.
Yeah.
White Santa, white Jesus.
Yeah.
Feed your baby some baby food. You're gonna see that white baby looking
Gerber
at you.
baby. Yep.
Eat
Yeah.
some oatmeal. You're gonna see that white man with that
Yep.
funny hat. though.
Yep.
So all those images
You ain't never lied.
bombarded our mental. So you think,
Yeah.
okay, why I can't build with this brother? You
Yeah.
can't build with that brother because that's a European.
Yeah.
His skin is black, but his mind,
It's European.
just like
That's
Get
a
Out.
trip.
A straight scene out of Get Out.
Right.
Get Out is what's currently going on right now as we're speaking right now. That's why we have yet to come together completely. We opened this up with know thyself.
Yep.
That's what we need to get back to.
Right.
Know thyself.
thyself.
Knowledge of self. Unlearn and relearn.
Unlearn and relearn. That
Once
is
once we do
so
that,
real.
we will be able to build with one another. Because right now we the number one consumers and don't own absolutely nothing at all. But those dynamics can change once we begin to know ourselves.
Know ourselves.
Unlearn, relearn.
That's
period.
true, and that's where I am today. That's why I had to lead in with that
That's
because
great.
that's where I am today. And the one thing that really, when you was talking about queens and goddesses, right?
Mhm.
The one thing that I've heard, and it bothers me to a degree, is I will hear just a conversation, random conversations, and a lot of times I sit back and I'm a spectator of conversations. I'll hear, sisters talk and things like that, and I'm just taking in, taking it in. And so what I have heard is it's the queen. I've heard sisters say the word they feel is being used loosely as though you can't call another sister a queen. Now, me personally,
Use bitch loosely.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, or I've heard, this person she ain't giving me queen vibes or queen vibrations or whatever the case may be. I've heard this like a lot. And I'm like, that's like, what is that mindset? Why wouldn't you want to call your sister a queen? What's wrong with calling her a queen or a goddess? You're trying to have her elude that. You're
right.
trying to have her, up her game to that. So if you call her and address her as such, she'll hopefully embrace and up that. But I guess that's that European,
That's exactly.
thought. But you can call somebody a bitch, like it's not, hey, that's my bitch. Like that's cool, but it's not cool to say queen and goddess.
So it's easier to degrade. Yesterday it was easier to degrade, but today we're gonna elevate. We're gonna use the queen.
Right.
We're gonna use the goddess. We're gonna use the king. We're gonna use the emperor. And when you say it, right? When you say these words, you have to go into your spirit. This is not a mental thing, right? So don't let it come out your mouth if it's not in your spirit,
Right.
because with your spirit comes heart, and with the heart comes the intellect and the intelligence. And now you're in my eye. So when you speak the truth that your brother and your sister is a king and queen, right? Now it's time to build empires.
Right.
Not like you see on TV. We ain't talking about that bullshit. We talking about when you come together and say, hey, what's our next move, family? What's our next move, brothers? I can't do this shit by myself.
Right.
I need y'all. Come on, kings, and sit at the king's table. Like the queen sit at the queen's table. And then the king and queen table got to get together. Because the man is not above the woman in ancient Kemet, in African society, nor is the woman above the man.
Right.
They holding each other like this.
Right.
They moving together because when they came and got us, they didn't get the black man or the black woman or the black child. They got the black family.
Yeah.
So if we ain't moving as a family, something wrong with your psychosis, and you got to admit that you a house nigga. And then once you can admit that you doing house nigga shit or
Accept
cool
what it
shit,
is.
then you can stop it. If you can't admit it, let me say this to y'all before I pass the mic. You have to be able to admit that the white man is superior. I didn't say he's supreme. He's superior in education because he has an education system. He's superior militarily because he has a military. He's superior financially because he has a financial system where he produces money. So when you see where you're inferior at, that's when you can start producing what you don't have. But if you can't admit where you losing at, black people, if we have these fantasies because one black person make it, we all made it, and when the rest of us are suffering, hell no.
Yeah.
We ain't got no clothing manufacturing because P. Diddy and what's the other brother name that do the meditation and the yoga, right?
Russell Simmons.
It was Kamara Lee.
Boy,
He's,
Oh, Russell
so I'm
Simmons.
just saying, cross colors,
Yeah.
they all sold their stuff out. They sell their television shows out. So that's cool moments. So when you call yourself a king or queen, be prepared not to do no cool moments.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I
You're
believe
right.
the answer to that question is
Mhm.
actually the answer to the question we had at the beginning, which is, why do we need Pan-Africanism?
Mhm.
And I want to quote from one of my movies, my parable movies. This one is from The Matrix, I think it's the third one. And it says, there is no reason or purpose. Without purpose, we would not exist. Purpose that created us, purpose that connects us, purpose that pulls us, purpose that guides us. It is purpose that defines us, and it is purpose that binds us. If we're walking around without a purpose, what's the purpose? The purpose is Pan-Africanism.
Raise the flag. Raise the
We
flag.
need that purpose. Without that purpose, none of this stuff is
You
gonna
lost.
work. So we're
Yeah.
walking around without this purpose in our life, and we need that purpose. That's the reason we having this show right here, and we educating our people right now.
Absolutely. And I want to just take a moment to thank all of our viewers. I appreciate you.
Thank y'all.
We
Um,
appreciate y'all. Without
We love
y'all.
y'all.
Absolutely.
We love y'all.
And for those of you guys who are tapped into the live, do the watch party. Have a friend join on, all that good stuff.
Share.
Talk about it. Share. It's okay to share.
Amen.
Support your peoples.
Even after the
I
show.
support y'all too,
That's right.
even after the show. That's what we do. Fair exchange, no robbery. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Now, I want to say this too. Have you noticed we ain't advocating no violence or no militant, right? We just been talking about love, socially, culturally, and
family.
building economically. Right, Pan-African is gonna be so much fun when you can embrace your brothers and sisters,
And
right?
be you.
And the thing about it, the children grow up healthy. They don't grow up depressed.
Right.
Right? So get a book, read it, right?
Yeah,
Even
so-
if you got to do a PDF file, you know, Stolen Legacy, Destruction of Black Civilization, and get with your people and discuss, right? What's the next move in your community, people? Now, I want to let you know, Loyal African Minds, every Saturday, we have discussion groups, right? From 10 in the morning until we get tired. Right, and we have people from all across the world. We got people
Right.
from Sierra Leone,
Yeah.
Liberia, Ghana,
over.
Jamaica, Florida, Mississippi, especially right here. And you can reach us at 1-510-386-5369. Low African Mind discussion groups on Saturdays. Also, we're finna open ourselves up for membership. And we're going to have a screening process because you talked about the sabotagers, how we always let them in our organization, and when they fall, you go blame Marcus Garvey, or you go blame Elijah Muhammad, or you go blame Malcolm X, but you don't blame the people that's under them that did all the dirty work. You know, and so we tired of being fall guys. We're not against white folks, yellow folks, red folks, but we are for our children to have a future that they desire of their own. White people might want to go to Mars. We might want to stay on Earth and enjoy this planet.
And I do want to say for those of you guys, definitely plug in because I learned so much being part of this group. Really, at the end of the day, what I've learned along this journey is you want to be around those that's going to elevate your thinking.
Yes.
You want to be the dumbest person in the room. And as much as that might sound foolish, it's truly not. Because that allows you to be able to learn, expand, and grow and elevate. And that's what you want to do. So I really enjoy being part of these discussions. I love the text messages that I get because there's so much. It's such a wealth of things that you are able to research because they talk about it, but they also send things out for you to do the research yourself. So it definitely is not a bad idea just to get in tune and open up and learn. Man, I'm loving it. I'm just
Absolutely.
saying,
That's
I'm
the
loving
best
it.
thing you ever can do in life. Look, the same way that you eat to give you nutrients to make sure you have a strong body, you need to do the same thing for your
Your
mind too.
mind,
You need to
yes.
read to get the nutrients to have a strong mind. Unfortunately, a lot of us walking around with anorexic minds as a result
Yeah.
of not reading.
Good
and
analogy,
getting
brother.
those
Yeah.
information
Good
to fill
analogy.
your brain up, and
Read them books.
that was one of the greatest things that ever happened to me in my life was
Mm-hmm.
reading.
And we
Building
only
my brain.
named just a few of the books.
Yeah.
I mean, another one I'll add in there is Liberation of the African Mind. But the point also is these are a few books, but what people always think, oh, I got to get the new, I got to get more, I got to get more. But actually, even one book, if you read it once, If you read it again, you're gonna see something else you didn't see.
yeah.
When you read it again, you're gonna see something else you didn't see. Look how long this book, the Bible, has gone, and every time folks read it, oh, I didn't see that. Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, I read that before, but I didn't see it. So don't think that you gotta veer off from these books, or you done read it. I done read it already, and I know it. See, there's a difference. We get it mixed up when we done read something and we say we know it. Now, people say, "Oh, I read about that health that I shouldn't eat these certain things, and I know about that, so I don't need to read that no more."
Did
But
you
yet you
apply it?
still eating those things. If you're still eating those things, you don't know it. You just read
You
it.
just read.
You don't know it.
So
Gotta
we-
read for understanding.
You have to apply it.
And there you go.
You have to apply what you so-called know. If I know that eating that smoking cigarettes is gonna kill me, but I'm still smoking cigarettes, I don't know that smoking cigarettes is gonna kill me.
Right.
Because if I did, I would stop smoking cigarettes.
Right. I want to kind of talk a little bit. We talked a lot about Marcus Garvey, which we know Marcus Garvey ties into Pan-Africanism, but we really didn't go into who he is as much. And I do, because we're getting close to the end, I do want to kind of touch on that for those who don't know exactly who Garvey is, the significance of him, and Nat Turner as well. So I want to allow either of you to go ahead and take the forefront, and let's talk about Nat Turner, because he kind of led into Marcus Garvey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, one thing that we know about the Honorable and Noble Nat Turner, who we so graciously have as a leader in our spiritual mind,
Love him.
he took the Bible, and the Bible spoke to him in such a way after he seen the Bible being used for him to set his people up to be good slaves to your masters, even if your master is evil. He took the Bible and he said to come into the kingdom of God. And he said God called him to raise New Jerusalem. And this New Jerusalem was a city. It wasn't a city, it was a spirit that overcame to him. And so New Jerusalem was to get off of this plantation, right, and to start your own. And so he asked his brothers and sisters, who down with me to come off this wicked, humiliating system, and let's go free. Let's go liberate. Let's rebel. Let's revolt. Let's be men. Let's stand up and be warriors. Let's be men of God, and to have a better life for our women and children, even if it meant that we have to sacrifice. They said, "Give me life or death.
Death.
Give me freedom or death." All right, and so with Nat Turner and his rebellion, they switched the numbers down about how many people that got murdered on the other side, on the opposition. There are plenty of books. I'm not going to give you all the histories, right? I want y'all to go ahead and research Nat Turner.
Please.
And what we want you to do is tap into Lord African Minds, 1-510-386-5369, and come on with your information. Since Nat Turner led up from his rebellion into the spirit of Marcus Garvey, one of the people that was instrumental and detrimental to Marcus Garvey was Booker T. Washington in the Tuskegee Institute. Booker T. Washington was a forerunner of Pan-Africanism, right? He came up with Negritude, right, where he saw that the Negro had his own institutions, his own banking system. Matter of fact, Booker T. Washington had a plan way before Marcus Garvey. I'm not trying to give you too much, but go look up Booker T. Washington. Look at his whole life. And it was another group of people that was functioning with him. They was on the low key because they didn't want to be exposed. But Marcus Garvey was the person who said, "Hey, it's time to stop being quiet. Say it loud." You
I'm
know?
black and I'm proud.
And
Hey.
So-
they have yet to make a movie about the brother
So
Marcus.
Marcus,
Yeah, I
It's a
know.
damn
That's
shame.
that's why I wanted to take this
Disrespectful.
opportunity to
Oh,
put
yes.
it out there, because
yes,
that is
yes.
interesting that it is not.
Yes.
So Marcus Garvey
reason.
was born in Jamaica. He was apprentice to a person who did newspaper in the printing press. And so the most powerful thing in the world that Marcus discovered, the printing press, is what? Communication.
Yeah.
If you can control what people read, the information
Like
they get.
social media today.
And so
Yeah.
Television.
so he had started the Negro World, right? And from that, he came up to Universal Improvement Association. A prophet is never honored in their own home. The people of Jamaica was so caught up in being a part of the British Crown.
Yes.
He said, I got to get my ass up and I got to go to Harlem. I got to go to America where the black people community is listening to Booker T. Washington, where they have the spirit of Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman, where they have black congressmen and senators, right? And so he came to the United States. He went to Panama. He went to Venezuela. He went to Costa Rica. And he visited all these places where black people live. And he said, hey, we need to come under one umbrella and we need to socialize with each other, right? And stop trying to fit into other people's social norms. We need to take the culture that we have, throw out the components that doesn't work, right? Like some of that superstitions that we have, right? Like waiting on somebody to come out the sky, and we need to go ahead and do for self.
Straight up.
And when we socialize with each other and we get rid of false culture superstitions and we come into what's real, turns into an economic thing. So they had clothing stores. He was starting his own automobile company. They started a shipping company, which got sabotaged, right? They had frogmen. They had frogmen from the U.S. Navy go in the where the boats was docked at, go in and go in the water and damage the boats from the outside because he was wooden vessels. If you really want to know what happened, do your research. Anybody else want to go a little deeper?
I would like to add also the connection with Vietnam and their brother Marcus Garvey. Ho Chi Minh, he came to Harlem. In fact, Ho Chi Minh and the brother Malcolm X, which again, was just assassinated yesterday. However, him and Ho Chi Minh has the same birthday, May 19th. Ho Chi Minh merged with the brother Marcus Garvey. He was sitting at the brother Marcus Garvey feet, absorbing all that great information.
So was Elijah Muhammad and Noble Drew
He
Ali.
took that very
Know the
information
truth.
and went right back to Vietnam and was successful with destroying the French and
Right.
was victorious over the United States also.
Right. So I want to talk about then what Garveyism is. I think for me, I translated Garveyism is Pan-Africanism, right? It's one and the same.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Garveyism is a term that Europeans coined to stop us from
His
saying
father.
Pan-Africanism. Right?
Mm.
Because Garvey, they said they set him up on a federal tax fraud because there was no FBI until Garvey came and they created their whole institution. Said the number one threat to America is black people
unity.
seeking some type of liberation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To have an independent
Trying to do that
mindset
now.
from what.
What we're trying to do right,
Right.
now. Yeah.
So, but one, I'm going to tell you the most unique part. Garvey would not be shit, and I'm going to tell you the truth. I love Garvey, right? Garvey would not be shit if it wasn't for sisters like Queen Mother Moore.
Straight my goodness, I
So,
was gonna go
so
into that.
in every black organization,
Queen
the
Mother
backbone is the
Queen
black
Mother Moore,
woman,
true
and they don't
Lord,
get their
yes.
recognition.
Take note of that right there.
Okay,
Sister.
so me and Brother Mandrea, we're celebrating Queen Mother Moore Day inside Lower African Minds, and we want to spread that around the world. And we're going to give you more information as we understand on how this holy day, fucking holiday, how this holy day is going to go. Do your research. Look up Queen Mother Moore, and we challenge you to dial 1510-386-5369 and tell us what you learned about Nat Turner, Marcus Garvey,
Booker
Amy
T.
Garver, Booker T. Washington, Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, and Queen Mother Moore.
Yes.
What's the other sister's name? Ida B. Well.
Ida B. Wells as well.
Who was the
Ida
first
B. Wells,
person?
yeah.
Who was the first sister to run for president?
Chisholm, Shirley Chisholm.
Okay, let me tell you the truth, family. Right? Black liberation do not work without black women. Okay.
Period.
The black women are the backbone of black liberation. They might don't get the credit, but you sisters, you hold the male and you hold the female in your stomach, what you thinking and what you
Yes.
speak and what you tell them to be. If you tell them to be an engineer, if you tell them to be a doctor, if you tell them to be a liberator, they're going to do that. But if you tell them to grow to be anything they want to, and they're watching TV with all this weird shit, they're going to grow up to be weird and do anything they want to do because they don't know what to do until you give them some instruction.
Yeah.
So,
The very term alma mater
Alma mater.
means nurturing mother.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So that mother's the first teacher, the first nurse, doctor,
Yes.
everything starts with that mother.
Yes.
We all got navels.
Yes.
Once upon a time, an umbilical cord was attached to that navel.
Yep.
Straight from mama.
Yep.
The ground we walking on, mama earth.
Yep.
With all them spaceships, them little ships that come about that big ship, that's the mothership.
The mothership.
So again, everything starts with the mother.
Motherland.
the
Mama
motherland.
Yes.
Once
yes.
we
The
get it
mother
back right,
plane.
though,
Yep.
everything gonna be all
We
right.
could just
Yeah.
watch nature and see that, the queen bee,
Yep.
the
Absolutely.
queen ant,
Yes.
That's right.
all nature. We got this, what is it called? Wait, you have the matriarch.
Matriarch,
and you
right.
have
The patriarch.
The patriarch.
Yeah.
So they changed a lot of that. There's a good book on that called When God Was a Woman that
I'd
talks
say
about
God is a
lot like
woman.
that.
Well, we say goddess. There's a word. Let God be the male and let the goddess be the goddess.
Yes.
'Cause they're both
Right?
in the
In
same-
ancient Nubia, we had the goddess, and she
Yes.
had the highest place because she was
Creator.
wisdom.
Yes. So I want to just kind of I got two last questions before we wrap it up here. We didn't get to touch on the blueprint, which I think is really important, but I think we touched on it a little bit in conversation as far as what we need to do. But we really need a blueprint because we could talk about what we need to do, but we need to have the blueprint. We need to have it.
Now,
You know what I'm saying?
I invaded that for a reason because we're going to have the Pan African Liberation
And
Conference,
that's what that's gonna
and that's
be
what
about.
that's what it's going to be about. Coming up with the
Okay.
blueprint.
Yes.
Another great
And
book,
I
too,
wanted,
real quick.
I wanted to extend it to you. I want you to be on the Pan African Conference and discussion as one of the moderators.
I'm honored.
Okay?
I know a little bit.
Okay,
Well, you know, you're
know
going
a
to be.
lot more
You
than
qualify.
Yes.
You good. You good.
Thank you.
Also,
Appreciate it.
I want to add about Queen Mother Moore also. It's a disservice right now that we're speaking about reparations under ADOS, Foundational Black America. They have yet to mention that sister Queen Mother Moore name. That sister was
Or
a
any of the sisters'
major
name.
champion for reparations, period.
Wow.
Queen Mother,
Why do you
again,
think? Why do you think that they negate to include her?
because they are against Pan-Africanism. They are
Well, we're
against the
talking-
divide. So again, they pro-America and forget about everything else. But again,
Foundational American.
that European, when England wanted to merge with Britain, when Britain wanted to merge with what all the rest of the Europeans, they didn't say, "Oh no, we ain't worried about them." They came together
Right.
because they knew what benefits they could be, that could come about as a result to them
Right.
merging together. We don't get it. We don't catch on because again, the European mind stayed up. But it's gonna work out.
We gonna
though.
yes, we gotta change the
Unlearn,
narrative.
relearn, and a great book, a great read by the brother Amos Wilson, Blueprint for Black.
I know.
Power.
I wanted to talk about that. It was right here, baby.
For
You
Black
what that say?
Power.
Blueprint.
Also,
Dr. Amos Wilson.
Yeah.
listen, y'all,
Yeah,
please, y'all,
right there.
ladies, gentlemen, and children, please get up on that brother Amos Wilson. That brother he is just like
he
our
has the
beautiful
black
sister.
blueprint. Yeah.
He is like him and our beautiful sister Frances Cress Wilson like to ask for the Simpson of psychiatry. They deal with the brain.
Mm-hmm.
So I highly recommend get up on our sister Dr. Frances Cress Wilson and Dr. Amos Wilson also.
Yeah, I'm on Dr. Amos
Oh,
Wilson.
yes.
That's why this.
Oh, yes. I
I'm
love that
on
brother.
that.
Please don't sleep on that brother, y'all. Please. Dr. Amos Wilson.
And also, I have a question for you, Indigo Goddess John, Queen John. We want to, the Lower African American women, they want to come, without the males, right?
Yeah.
And we want
It's the Queen's table, of course.
I'm just saying, though, before we have our Pan African Conference,
Yeah.
and these sisters are real studied, they read, you got Queen Mother Goddess, you got
Yes.
Sister, the Queen Charm,
Yeah.
you got
Takara, she's very educated.
Right.
Yes.
And she said she's on her way out here next week. or
I
the
know.
week
I
after.
can't
Right.
wait.
And so, we just want to know, and I want everybody out there that's listening to us, please get involved. Unity comes forth when you take an activity. You don't get unity by saying we need unity. You don't get unity saying if only black people do it. You get unity when you show up when we do. Now, there's a guy named Buzz Gang Mitchell. We all here
Yes.
did the Black Family Day with him last year.
Yes.
We're not involved in that aspect this year, but we support Black Family Day, the second annual Black Family
Absolutely.
Day, August 29th at Dan Foley Park. Get in contact with us, We Not Me, Norman Buzz Gang Mitchell,
Yes.
and it's going to be a big family fun.
It was great last year. So for those of you guys, we talked about it on the show. Last year was phenomenal.
Yes,
I know
yes.
I know because we were part of, we felt like there were other things that could have been better, but that's why we do it another year and another year. It was great. The turnout, Vallejo was awesome. I'm proud of Vallejo. Wasn't no problems. Everybody
Non-violent.
kicked it even
Yeah.
past dark.
Absolutely.
We kicked it past dark, and it wasn't no problem.
They have it, Vallejo.
Yeah, so I'm very proud, and I expect this year to be even greater. So
Yes.
you guys definitely want to come out and be a part of that. You will not be disappointed. I did want to kind of just piggyback off what you're saying when we talked about the blueprint of what is needed. For me, I feel what we definitely need to do is we got to definitely awaken our consciousness. We definitely need to do that, and we got to get our organization together. We got to get organized.
That's real.
So I just want to kind of leave you guys with that. Think about that. Wake up. Really wake up. We got to wake up. We need to take this stuff in. Share this video. I know it's been pretty lengthy, but there's definitely been a lot of jewels that's been dropped here by some great wise men here. So I hope that you guys are able to learn something. Make sure that you guys are, those books. There's been several books that have been dropped here today. So take the opportunity to pick just one. Pick just one book and do the research. King Ajalan had left a number. So if you're interested in some of the topics that we talked about or have questions, you want to join our discussion, the group we have on Saturdays. And the number one more time.
1-510-386-5369. We need volunteers and we need members. And also, there's a lot of teachers and people who've been going to school, that's been going to historical park. You're wondering what can you do?
Yeah, we need all
Get with us.
too.
Get with us.
10 a.m. on Saturday.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. I want to leave with this. I want you guys to plug your media, ways of people to contact you. Just kind of leave your name so they know who you are and how to get a hold of you.
Taki Hicks. We have our Loyal African Minds Facebook page. We also have loyalafricanminds.com. The businesses he talking about, me and my wife. One is iHustleDaily.org. That's I like iPhone Hustle Daily. The wife's is iCandyCouture.com. I think that's spelled. I know it's spelled EYEKANDICOUTURE.com. Also can be reached right here in Sacramento by phone 916-800-4624. That's my direct office number, and I hustle, so I use the phone to get my hustle on.
You do hustle.
So yeah,
Definitely that.
every
Yes,
day.
yes, yes.
And if I can, is it all right to put in a plug for the African market?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm all supportive of the African market.
Hey,
I'm there like every other
24th and Florence.
weekend, right?
Yes. 2251 Florence Road, the African market, y'all.
Sojourner True Cultural Center.
Yes.
Exactly. Right here in Sacramento.
Right here in
So
Sacramento.
I used to
we
live
got
right
some
around the corner
places.
from it. I helped
We
them get
got
started.
places
Yes.
where
Well,
we
people
are
know.
connecting. So the connection is real. We just got to do more of it, and we got to get on that purpose. And did I share all the information I needed? Did I miss anything?
Hopefully.
You good.
Hopefully not.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I said hopefully.
Oh, that he got everything.
Hopefully he got everything. What I want to say, King Ajalan Nyansupu, if you don't get involved, please don't complain.
Right.
Right? If you see our children getting shot or not being educated and you're not trying to be involved, don't be the complainer. But if you see what's going on and you want a home, if you want a family, if you want an organization, Loyal African Minds and Joint African Market, you can come and join us. You can help make decisions. You can have your own plans, and we can get the resources to make it happen.
Unify.
Because it takes all of us. We all we got.
Ability.
And I just want to leave you guys with this. Many are called, few are chosen. You can't answer a call if you don't get called. So if you ain't called, do your thing. Do you. Don't hate on us. But if you want the people that's in your spirit and you know you call, answer that call. Get involved. Your children and your grandchildren depend on it.
Yes.
Right? We're doing this for our children and our children's children. With that, peace, love, black power. And we got a special word that we use, Numakiwawa.
Numaki Wawa.
Maki Wawa.
And anyone who's listening to this broadcast, can you please make a comment real quick? Can you press a like so we'll know who's out there?
Share.
Because the algorithms of Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and all the social media, it goes off on what you share with other people.
Right.
If you can't share us, how could the word get out?
Right. Exactly.
And if you don't want to help out, when you get that wake up nigga alarm clock hit, hey, we still here.
It's even simpler than that, though. Look, if you're not part of the solution, you are the damn problem.
You are the problem, indeed.
There it is.
So in closing, I just want to leave you guys with this. He who fails to remember history
Uh-oh.
is doomed
to
to repeat it.
Yes, it is.
Let that
Yes.
sink in and sizzle in your spirit.
We here, y'all.
I definitely want to thank you guys for joining the Queen's Table. I hope you appreciated this discussion. I appreciate all of you guys. You guys enjoy your weekend. The sun is shining bright this weekend.
Yes.
I'll
yes,
see you
it
next
is.
Friday.
Ultraviolet rays.
Peace and love.
Love and peace. Hey. Okay. Thank you for having us.
Thank y'all very
Thank
much.
you for having
y'all.
us. Yeah, that was cool.
I'm glad you enjoyed. Let's get
I
our
seen those
flicks.
numbers on my phone got it to 38 at one point.
Oh, that's your phone right there?
Yeah, I ain't never seen my numbers get up that high. The other day, it went to 78.
You see what set it off was a picture coming in, though. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
The picture sent out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.